And with the limited slate on Sunday, I'm scaling back a little bit here. I have just a few plays this week, but they're ones I really, really like. So we'll walk you through them. And it's going to start here for me. I'm going to lay the 6.5 points with the Denver Broncos against the Washington Commanders. This Sunday Night Football. Because really what this comes down to is I want to fade one of the worst teams ATS this season. That is Washington. They have not covered, Jake, in 6 straight games. They've lost by an average of 17.3 points in that span. Washington struggling on offense right now. No Terry McLaurin, likely no J.D. Honey in this game as well. I think when we get that news that Daniels is not out there, this line could move, so I'd get on this early. Denver is crushing teams with their defense right now. They're allowing the 3rd fewest total yards this season, the lowest yards per play in the NFL at 4.4 yards. They've also allowed the 3rd fewest points this season, 17.5 per game. Denver right now, they're 2-1-1 ATS as an away team. They're 2-1 ATS as a opponent going up against non-conference foes. They've covered in 3 of their last 4 games, including that big win against the Chiefs. And the only time they didn't cover as of late in the last month, that was that weird Thursday night football game against the Raiders. I hate Thursday night football. I can never get it right. So coming off the bye here and getting the Raiders next week, I don't think this is a look-ahead spot at all for the Broncos. I like them. They had a full week to get this game plan together, figure out how are we going to survive life without J.K. Dobbins in the backfield. So I like the Denver Broncos minus 6.5. What do you have here in the ATS market, Jake?
Yeah. First off, I want to say I'm all over this play. We may still see Terry McLaurin. I don't think it's going to matter. So there were 2 plays that really stood out to me when I was looking. One of those being Cincinnati Bengals +7 against the Baltimore Ravens. Burrow's back. That's 90% of the battle. But the other side is also looking at the Ravens injury report. It's not looking great right now. Lamar didn't practice today with an ankle injury. Kyle Hamilton didn't practice with an ankle injury. Lamar's a toe injury. So Lamar, I do think goes, but this offense is clearly not operating the way that it's supposed to. That said, the Bengals defense is terrible, but also it's a Joe Burrow return game on Thanksgiving. We love those return stories, especially, on these weeks like this. Just an absolutely fun play. So I'm going to be all over Cincinnati on that line. And then the other play I have this week that I like a lot is Jacksonville minus 6.5 versus Tennessee. I mean, the Tennessee's the worst team in football. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Have they been better since Brian Callahan hasn't been calling plays? A little bit. But they're still an extremely beatable team. Jacksonville has the ability to just snap at any single point, and Tennessee just doesn't have the skill players, the talent to stop a team like Jacksonville if they're going on all cylinders, and I think that's exactly what we're going to get this week.
Alec Manor is banged up coming into this one. I'll talk about a play that might lend itself towards later on. I would maybe maybe look at a Jaguars team total, talking from the guy who laid the points last week with the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, that was just too big of a line. It was 13.5, but the trend said to lay it, and I went with them, and it did burn me. But yeah, I do like the Jags in this spot as well. You also have a money line play this week, Jake, potential upset brewing there for the Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm going with the Cardinals over Tampa. You mentioned Baker's injury earlier. I really would be shocked if we see Baker this week. If this shoulder injury is severe enough that they had to get an MRI on it, that's one thing. If he plays, that's another thing. No tears. It's just a mild AC joint sprain. The problem is, though, if Baker, in my opinion, Baker's probably going to take all the practice snaps or a majority of the practice snaps this week. If Baker takes one bad hit and has to come out of this game, and we're looking at a Teddy Bridgewater coming into the game situation again, I don't think that Tampa has what it takes to truly compete here. We've seen their running back room operate arguably a little bit more effectively just with the split of Sean Tucker and Rashad. Now that Bucky's back in the picture, that room gets weird. Can any of them really get hot? Godwin's back, but him being back is back in the slot, which is eating away from McBuka in the slot, which is where you really want him. I think in a way for this week, the players returning for Tampa almost hurt the offense a little bit. And if we get word that Baker is not able to play this week, I wouldn't be surprised to see this line shift close to even, if not flip to Arizona being the favorite.
It could be. It very, very well could be, man. It was one of those situations where Tampa did not look good in prime time. I'm surprised, honestly, that they're laying this many points, and you can get the Arizona Cardinals on a money line at this good of a value. So I'm with you here. I like what Jacoby Brissett's been doing. We talked about it at the top of the show as well. So I like that play. And you also have a total here coming out there in my favorite city and one of your favorite cities as well.
Yeah, I'm going Buffalo against Pittsburgh. I'm taking the under here. Both of these teams kind of suck right now. Like, there's really neither of them are producing at the skill level that we know that they can.
Sure.
Buffalo is desperate for wide receiver help, so they're adding the corpse of Brandon Cooks to the roster to hope that fixes things.
Of the freaking Bills. I bet on Shavers last week on Thursday Night Football, not a dang catch.
Tough. But yeah, I just don't trust either of these offenses to come out. And, Pittsburgh's defense can be pretty stout. Buffalo's defense can show up and perform. I truly think this is one of those games where you look at that line at 47.5 and you're like, okay, this is going to be a high scoring game. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if this game finished like 12-6 and we just get 6 field goals and nothing else.
Okay. Let's go ahead and get to player props. I got 2 for you this week. The first one, it's a little down and dirty, but we're going John Metchie the third over receiving yards. Metchie has logged the most snaps over the past 2 weeks for the New York Jets. He's found the end zone in both those games. He's had a 26% target share last week with Tyrod Taylor, or Tyrod, as apparently I have been saying Tyrod Taylor's name wrong his entire life. I got called out in the comments over on the FP channel earlier this week for it, but I'm going to keep saying Tyrod because it just sounds better, and that's what I've been saying my whole life. So either way, I expect John Metchie from Tyrod to get a ton of work here. And with how AD Mitchell's been performing with his opportunity, I think maybe this could even increase. He's been the team's top target earner the last couple weeks here, and the team's top target earner against the Falcons has cleared this line in every single game this season, averaging 96 yards over the past month specifically. So I think John Metchie has a big day once again. I also take a little tight end action for the Tennessee Titans. We mentioned Alec Manor. He's banged up coming into this one. I'm going back to the well. I've bet Okonkwo over receiving yards twice this season, and it's paid off for me. I've also bet Gunnar Helm on an anytime touchdown earlier this year, and it paid off for me. And apparently I should have been betting Gunnar Helm for a while because this guy has been really, really solid. And tight ends have been smashing against the Jaguars. We just saw what Trey McBride did to him. But the Jags have actually allowed the most targets and receptions to opposing tight ends over the past month, the second most receiving yards in that span as well to the big men. Starting tight ends have cleared the receiving yards prop in 8 of the last 9 games against them. Cam Ward, he's been targeting tight ends at a 24.1% target rate this season, and that number has only increased since Calvin Ridley has been out of the mix. So Gunnar Helm, I talked about how good he's been. His BP projected line of 17.5, he's hit in 4 of his last 5 games, averaging 4.2 targets, 30.8 receiving yards in that span. And Okonkwo, this is a guy who he's hit his projected line of 23.5 yards in 3 of his last 5 games, 2 in a row since Ridley's gone down, averaging 3.2 targets, 31.8 yards receiving. So I do like Helm more. We saw a ton of Gunnar Helm last week, Jake, especially when the Titans were trying to play catch up there against the Seahawks. I think they're trying to play catch up in this one once again. And I do like Chig, but I like Helm more. It'll probably be a 2-unit play on Helm for me, probably about 1.5 units, maybe a unit play on Okonkwo. What do you have for the player props, my friend?
Yeah, so I'm sticking with a couple quarterbacks over here. So I'm going with Matt Stafford over 252.5 passing yards.
Don't hate that.
This is a number that he's beaten 3 of his last 4 games. When it comes to Carolina, yes, they can be a pretty solid pass defense. However, the injuries are starting to mount up for them a little bit. Both Christian Roseboom and Trevin Wallace missed last week. So if that pace continues, which given that they were DNPs throughout all week, I'm not expecting much out of that this week. Trevon Moehrig, his 1-game suspension for a little bit of a low blow on Juwan Jennings. So their defensive back room is going to take a hit there. And, if there's one thing I've learned, Matt Stafford, when everybody kind of looks at Carolina as a trap game right now, they're like just good enough to give teams struggles, but rarely good enough to like truly upset somebody. Those are the ones where everybody, especially with the Rams over the last 10 years, it feels like have been like, this is a trap game for them. give me Matt Stafford overs in trap games every single time, because even if they lose, it's not going to be his fault. He's going to go for like 350 and 4, and the defense is just going to blow it somehow.
Okay. And you also have a play on Shedeur Sanders. What do you have for him?
I do. I'm going Shedeur throwing an interception, essentially. I still don't think he's very good. I saw some headlines kind of propping up his play. I think the exact word I saw was Sanders shines in his first start on like a 50
first Browns starter to win in his first start for their time in Cleveland, since like 2000 or 2001. So I think that's part of that, right?
It for sure is. Yeah. But I mean, we're talking about a guy. So yes, no snaps with the first team offense, back end fill in type situation for him here when it comes to his first performance. But dude's barely completing 50% of his passes. He's thrown an interception in both games. This is not an easy matchup by any means. On paper, is it the hardest matchup in the world? No. But the 49ers defense have the ability to get takeaways. We saw it just this past Monday night.
Right,
like,
Sean.
They have the ability to take the ball away from the opposing quarterbacks. They're getting healthier, which is scary for a lot of teams that are playing San Francisco right now. There was a stretch there where everybody was like, oh, San Francisco's done for. Kyle Shanahan's finally getting fired. And then all of a sudden they're 8-4, still somehow third in their own division, because that's just how good this division is. But this team and a Shanahan defense, I feel like, is going to give Sanders so many problems that he's more than likely going to throw a pick here, which is why it's minus 202. It's like,
you're drinking juice. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not quite in lock territory, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate, going with like maybe a Geno Smith interception parlay with Shedeur, because Geno's thrown so many, or even like, Tyler Shuck's probably due to throw one here soon as well. So like, I think there's different ways you can go with this, or just drink the juice straight. And it's like our friend over on the back road always says, Rod Villagomez, you only drink the juice if you lose, baby. And I don't think this one's losing. So, Jake, I like those calls for you. Let's go ahead and round out the program with our touchdown calls of the week. And let's update the touchdown call leaderboard presented by our friends over at Dynasty Decks. Guys, if you're trying to remember your fantasy football season that was when you took home the championship, or maybe you just got second, but you want to remember, hey, that's the best season I've ever had, you can do it with Dynasty Decks. Even if you have a basketball league, a golf tournament, any type of thing that you can remember it by, go over there to dynastydex.com. You can make sure that you're getting invested with them. I know some leagues are going to be ending soon. This is a great way to reward your winner. It's better than a trophy because you get a new one every single year. You can start stacking them up on the shelf there. And on the touchdown call contest leaderboard, Jake, really, really weird week for us where the entire left side of the board, Trav, Rob, James, Steven, myself, none of us hit touchdowns. It was crazy. It was terrible. I lost a lot of money on touchdowns last week. And then the right side of the board came to play, though. Eric moves up. He ties me with 14 touchdowns. Trash with 12. You are at 12 now with a couple. And then Ben with a big week. He got 3 touchdowns from one player. So congrats to Ben, Jake, Trash, yourself, everybody over there. There's still time, once again, to get invested in the touchdown call contest if you want. You can just go over to the In Between Media website. You can join the IBT football family. Link to that in the episode description. You get access into the memorabilia giveaways. You get access to ask us all the questions you want in the Discord. You can also get our official picks and predictions locked and loaded there every week as well, and access into the TD call contest where you can get a plaque if you are the winner and some IBT media swag. Jake, let's start out with you. Where are you going for your touchdown calls of the week?
Yeah, I'm going with Javonte Williams anytime touchdown. You can get that at minus 150. Were the best odds I found at Bet365. I'm a Javonte Williams hater. This is apparently the episode of we talk about running backs that Jake doesn't really like, but I mean, he's stepping up in a really, really big way for this team. He's on a bit of a touchdown drought. Hasn't had one in 3 weeks. It's starting to feel like a he's due situation. But then you also have to look at the matchup. It's Kansas City. How do you beat Kansas City traditionally? You run the ball. You run the ball away from Chris Jones, but you run the ball. It's something that certainly can be done when it comes to, if you look at their team as a whole, they give up 10 rushing touchdowns on the season and 11 passing touchdowns. Most team splits are a lot wider than that, one way or the other. So this is a team that you can beat on the ground. So Javonte feels like a really good play this week.
Okay, and your second touchdown call of the week is also coming on Thursday.
It is. It's Amon-Ra St. Brown plus 110. If you can get Amon-Ra to score a touchdown at plus money when nobody else has him at plus money, you take it at plus money. So get on over to DraftKings. They have plus money right now for this play. He scored a touchdown this week. He scored a touchdown 2 weeks ago. If we follow the current trend, he's actually not going to score one because he's been an every other week guy over these past few weeks. But again, it's just a situation where matchup's too good for me to pass up for an Amon-Ra type player. It's a no-brainer, again, at plus money. When I saw Amon-Ra was at plus money, it didn't matter who he was playing. I was picking him this week.
Okay. I like that. For me, I'm going with my first Christian McCaffrey play of the season. Anytime touchdown, minus 139. I love that number. I'm probably having 3 to 4 units on this play right here because this is a great price tag for someone in CMC who's found the end zone in 8 of 12 games this season. And with how Brock Purdy was looking last week, I think they're going to want to keep the ball in CMC's hands when they get close to the end zone, specifically because Myles Garrett, he is approaching that sack record, and he is lurking right now, man. He is absolutely lurking. CMC has also found pay dirt in 5 of 7 road games this season and is averaging 18.1 rushing attempts, 8.6 targets per game. That is a massive opportunity share. He has seen the second most touches inside the 20 among running backs, the most inside the 15, the most inside the 10, the second most inside the 5. The Browns have allowed touchdowns to running backs in 3 straight games, 2 of those coming through the air. So I think CMC has multiple outs here with the receiving work he's getting. And then I'm going back to down in Dirtyville, baby. Give me John Metchie the third anytime touchdown, 8-1 at Bet365. Part of this, Jake, is the number. He opened at plus 330 at FanDuel, so to get 8-1 over at 365 was a gift. So it's a sprinkle for me. Like, this is under a half a unit play. But at the same time, Atlanta has allowed the second most receiving touchdowns to opposing wide receivers over the past month, 8th. We know Metchie, he has also found the end zone 2 weeks in a row. Right now, Atlanta also given up 5 touchdowns this season, 2 wide receivers out of the slot. That's where Metchie is running 43% of his snaps out of since joining the Jets. He jumped all the way up to, as I mentioned, plus 3 or down to plus 330 at FanDuel. So I love 8-1 on the value there. So, Jake, love all the calls you came with this week, both in the fantasy stretch and in the betting markets. Shout out to our friend Ben, who's saying, thank you, Sonic. That's who it was. Gibbs got him 3 touchdowns. Good for you, Ben. You got a chance to move up the board finally. And our boy Herm, CH Herms, checking in saying, love you both. Herms,
we love you.
Yeah, haven't seen my boy Herms in a minute, but always thinking about you, man. Hope you have a great holiday with your family down there in the great state of Maryland. Got to visit with Herms. I think it was last year. I think it was last year. Last spring, went down there and saw him in Frederick. So appreciate everyone who makes time for us here on the In Between Fantasy Football podcast. The easiest way to support us, please give this video a thumbs up. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. We've got so much great content coming out for you. We've got NFL and fantasy football betting and fantasy advice for college football betting, NASCAR betting, PGA betting, entertainment betting, all to help you cash more and to enjoy the ride along the way. Also, be sure to check out inbetweenmedia.com. We got some dope written content. Ton of movie reviews that have just been dropping over the last couple of weeks. We also have a lot of fantasy football, college football content out for this week in particular. A lot of good entertainment stuff on the channel right now. Jake, you just did a Wicked rewatch. You're going to do a reaction video to the new Wicked movie coming up. Also, your picks and predictions for November movies. Those have been out. We also just did a ranking the new 2025 Christmas movies coming out that we just put out a video on demand on the channel. So, Jake, in addition to Popcorn Root Beer, your entertainment betting show, in addition to the 19th hole coming out here in January when the PGA season comes back, what else are you working on outside of IBT right now?
Yeah, so I am working over with Fantasy Alarm. So we're on kind of the hiatus. It's the end of the 2025 golf season. So waiting for the original tournaments to kick up. So if you guys are into golf DFS at all, you can find me over at Fantasy Alarm doing that. I'm also doing all of the injury report articles over there as well.
That's the Lord's work, my friend.
It's a lot of work. There's so many this year. But yeah, that's mostly where you can find me right now outside of IBT. But hey, we got a lot of good Popcorn and Root Beer episodes coming up. So you guys don't want to miss them.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. It's been a really, really fun season, really busy between over here at IBT, over at the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel as well. But we're so grateful for all support between all the networks that we're on. For Jake Parry, I'm Seth Woolcock. Thank you so much once again for watching. Happy Thanksgiving. If you're drinking this weekend, please don't drive and keep it in between until next time, y'all. Thank you so much.